All right, welcome everyone to another WineShark Wednesday. It is I, your host, the WineShark, and also guest starring Laszlo today. No pool for him to splash around in, but he is very curious for today's show, apparently. Either that or he's hungry or possibly has to pee. But, you know, Laszlo's hierarchy of needs, so to speak. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a great week. I'm doing pretty okay here, kind of going along. September, it's September. I was thinking about WineShark Wednesday topics, and my revelation was it's September. And while it's been a good year and we've been very busy, you know, you kind of get that thing where things get away from you. August had been this whole long hot summer thing. But obviously September and the things that are going on, it's back to school. And I went to the store and there's Halloween stuff everywhere. And there's this fall is imminent. And I love fall, do not get me wrong. But September is a weird month because, well, it's still hot as hell in summertime outside. And despite the fact that the kids are back in school, it's still summer. I mean, even from a seasonal, like on the calendar type of, you know, perspective, it's still summer. And that's bugging me. And really from a fact of, you know, when it comes to how I think of not only wine tastings, wine shows, what we're kind of doing, places, times, seasonality, especially when it comes to doing wine and food pairing shows, how I tend to make the menus about the seasons. I think that I've realized a disconnect both in the Northern Hemisphere where I particularly live, our seasons aren't particularly distinct like in some other places. In Texas, you know, there are many jokes about how many versions of summer we have here, and this being yet another one of them. So because there's not that dramatic shift over coming here for harvest time, which by the way, in the wine world, it's right in the middle of harvest time, meaning hotter climates have started harvesting over the last couple of weeks, or at least getting very quite ready to. But the harvest will go on from now until basically the end of October, read. So depending on where you are in the world, what your particular climate times are. So even from a wine season thing, the harvest is, you know, I traditionally think of as fall because I always think about it at the end of things. So anyway, it's just one of those weird oddities that kind of had me kind of thinking and stumped, and well, especially about what to drink, because the reality there it has nothing to do with the calendar. It really has more to do with weather and emotion, right? So weather-wise, it's still warm. So while I was choosing my grocery store grab selection this week, I was still thinking about hot weather wines. And if you look over the last, few months, that's been our kind of running theme. We haven't really dipped into big, heavier wines for a while, so that's kind of normal. But the other thing is the grocery store sometimes doesn't offer a really wide selection of what I would call some of my more summer refreshing things. I've been kind of in a Pinot Grigio Sauvignon Blanc rut. Not that that's a bad thing. I enjoy those grapes, but today's version is yet another one of those. Anyhow, Mark says it's only 79 in Southern California. Well, bravo, Mark. That's like almost people temperatures down there. Good on you. And in Minnesota, we met Dave and Mary up in Minnesota in the mid-70s. That's also very nice. Again, you have that northern latitude going. I was very specifically speaking about here in our world. So still, I am very glad for everybody having more reasonable temperatures than I. I think my phone here says it is currently 98. So anyway, not complaining, just saying that sets the tone for what types of wine we're still drinking. So I'm going to be doing a show in a couple of weeks, on the 12th of September, and the theme is back to school because, well, that's kind of what's happening. But really, I think when I think about the selections that we're going to do, it's going to be based on that transition from summer to fall. Many of us have that late heat summer, and the fall, it doesn't get cool in the fall until much later. So where are we in that transition space? Where do we do? What is our dining habits starting to change, or does that really just fall along the lines of when it happens to when we happen to get to actual holiday seasons? I think that's where you find that once the quote-unquote holiday season kicks off in the end of October with the Halloween era and a couple of weeks before Halloween and stuff like that, we really start thinking about fall foods. Of course, then it is actually officially fall by that point in time. But for now, we're technically still in summer. And well, I'm not complaining. I'm kind of wondering what to do with my hands. I don't really know. So, but anyway, so let's. So yeah, I said we're gonna do the transition show at the Tower coming up here soon. Those are my random thoughts on summer, etc. Didn't really have a topic. This is one of those things where again I'm going to plead to you, my listeners, to get in that comment section once the videos are produced and give me those ideas on things and topics that you guys are interested in. We've been doing this for going on a year and change now, and topically speaking, I really want to get to a point where we've got more customer requested content, even if it's repeat things that we've done before, if we need to revisit topics, etc. You know, there's only so much we can do in the short format, but there's certainly room for lots of options and opportunities. So ask a friend, find out what they want to learn about, right? Even if you happen to know everything about wine. I saw a great meme today, though, that said, if you tell people that you know a lot about a wine because you drink 1.5 liters of Chard every week, well then stop doing that. So it was done by Michael Jordan saying, well, if you're doing that, stop doing that. It was quite funny. Anyway, all right, so today's a grocery store grab. We're going to focus on that because we're not going to keep you here too long if we don't have much to talk about, other than, of course, the weather. So the grocery store grab, our premise, of course, is to help get the best value per dollar for wines found at non-specialty and non-big box retailers. That being said, I want to put an asterisk and a tangent because my brain thought of this from last week. One of the things I'm going to do is we're going to do an off the beaten path, off the grocery store grab show in the near future. Meaning, we're going to talk about what to look for in a good specialty store. I may go down to actually one of my favorites, down to Poco's, do some filming down there and kind of show some great examples of what to look for and to encourage you guys to really go out of your way to seek some if they are available in your particular neighborhood. Anyway, but not everybody's as fortunate to have a nice, fun, eclectic shop, or even a big box store. I get to shop at Total Wine. It's, not even a mile from my house. So not everybody gets that opportunity. Many of us shop at the grocery store out of convenience, so our goal is to get the best value per dollar, especially when we're in places where we don't necessarily have good, educated wine assistants at ready hand. At both the places before, you should be able to ask if you have questions, whereas the grocery store, generally not so much. So we do these without prior research. I choose these basically when I'm out there doing my grocery shopping. I look for something that catches my eye, and we focus on the label. And in this case, our selection today just got my attention based on its label alone. Just first off from visual attractiveness, but then also completed the important things we want to see on a wine label. We want to know what's in the bottle, we want to know where the grapes are grown, and we want simple flavor words to explain to us what is in the bottle. If you are new in your wine journey and don't know what Sauvignon Blanc tastes like, they need to tell you on the bottle just like they would if they were trying to sell you any other food-based product. So today's wine is Ava Grace Sauvignon Blanc. And let me go to our images here and I'll share that image up. So this is our Ava Grace, a wonderful little Sauvignon Blanc with a really catchy kind of fun label. I really like the color patterning that they did here. And what caught my eye after I started reading down it is that they put flavor words right on the front of the bottle. Citrus, floral, refined. That's what it says right underneath the Ava Grace Vineyards, even before it says Sauvignon Blanc from California. And I'm like, that's a great idea. Okay, and interestingly enough, one of the trends I'm seeing is the lower the bottle price tends to be, the more we tend to see good flavor word behavior. And that's unfortunate if you ask me. Seeing that this model was listed at $14, and then with the store card discount, hey, if you're gonna be in our club membership, you get this, or if you'll give us your marketing info, came out to a grand total price of $7. So this is a $7 bottle of wine. That's pretty inexpensive. That's definitely in that value category. Yet, they are telling us what the wine tastes like. And that I'm worried about a little bit about the trend, seeing this trend continue, because it's assuming that if you're going to spend more for wine, you know something about wine. And I think that might be a barrier to entry for where the real quality wine lives. In other words, you're trapped by not knowing what they taste like, even though they're probably the higher quality product. So on the back of the label, though, we've got Ava Grace Sauvignon Blanc. Ava Grace celebrates the delicate beauty and rich terrain of the vineyard where sunshine, soil, and flowers abound. Aw, ain't that nice? The beautiful word Ava, means life, and we believe wine that promises grace in every glass. Now, AVA, by the way, also stands for American Viticultural Area, and that's why I find it beautiful. Anyway, each step of our winemaking process has been thoughtfully handled with integrity, beauty, and soul. So what you taste inspires happiness and serenity. They put happiness and serenity fresh into every bottle. Finally, there's that. So after that that lovely, interesting marketing poetry, they at least have the final sentence of notes of grapefruit, gooseberry, and melon balanced with crisp, refined finish. That one sentence describes what the wine should be. But I love the fact still they put citrus, floral, and refined on the front, and they kind of give you a slightly longer sentence on the back. And then it says, live gracefully as their theme. So now you know how to behave when you're drinking this Sauvignon Blanc. But let's find out how well that they executed on this. Now, this is the value point of wine here, right? When we're talking about the sub $10 wine market, usually we're not looking for things like typicity, meaning the grape tasting like a specific style of grape. In this case, somewhere where a Pinot Grigio and a Sauvignon Blanc and a Verdejo might all taste very similar in this lower end property because they all have similar colors, similar flavors, and similar acid levels. So with the lower end, we are always kind of worried about that, something we have to be aware of. But let's find out. So color-wise, this is nice pale yellow, very, if you know what Sauvignon Blanc is, you should be expecting this, but even visually, you're looking at it and your eyes are telling you, oh yeah, this is probably a pretty nice light white wine. On the nose, it definitely has that little hint of gooseberry / citrusy grapefruit flavor. I couldn't really place it as grapefruit at first. I would just call it citrus. But gooseberry, interestingly enough, this one doesn't have quite the full, what they call the cat piss nose of the 4 MMP that Sauvignon Blanc is known for, but instead this has a nice bit of like green fruit. Right? It's got that green gooseberry kind of thing going on, and then a little floral. I can totally see like a nice kind of soft white flower in the back. It's not really, it's kind of hidden behind the sharp stuff, but you can smell that this wine is going to be juicy, crisp, and acidic. It smells like a fresh orange juice or lemonade. Your nose already knows that you're going to have something that's going to make your mouth pucker. So it's sending the right signals aromatically. That's good. On the palate, okay, crisp, absolutely, refreshing, 100%. It's got an interesting palate compared to its acid. The acid is still high, like a Sauvignon Blanc would be expected to be. It is mouth-watering. It is not so mouth-watering though that like my full, usually when I get a really high acid, I feel my salivary glands really kind of kick off. This only did it to a little bit, to a lesser extent rather, but the front of the mouth is very engaged with that citrus grapefruit line, and really strong now in the grapefruit sensation. It's that not sweet citrusy, and it's very much not lemon and not lime. I really like the fact that this is on point for that particular descriptor. This is to the point where all these markers point very well towards Sauvignon Blanc. Now, this is a California Sauvignon Blanc, not a New Zealand or a French style. Sauvignon Blancs in California sometimes get accused of being a little more vegetal, a little more green and herbal in an unfriendly way. The grassy greenness of the wines from, say, Entre du Mer and Sancerre in France are known to be very grassy, herbal, bright, crisp. Whereas the California versions sometimes get accused of more like cooked vegetables kind of thing, which can be unpleasant if you're looking for a nice, bright, refreshing wine. That, however, I think is kind of a misnomer of the past. I think that's something that California has had to work its way out of. For instance, the whole Fumé Blanc episode where they renamed California Sauvignon Blanc because it had such a negative stigma. I think that's kind of gone away. So unless you're a older generation drinker who's been drinking since the 70s or 80s, therefore you might have that thing still stuck in your mind. Whereas newer generation drinkers may never have heard it in the first place, so they may not be averse to California Sauvignon Blanc. Certainly, I think that the industry has moved past that, so it doesn't deserve the negative stigma on there. So I was perfectly willing to try. And as a 2017, this is still actually standing up pretty well. This is at the end point of where I would accept this wine as far as a lighter white style. 2 to 3 years in the bottle is about plenty, especially from a grocery store environment like that. Although I don't know if it's been stored I doubt it's been stored on that shelf for that long. Products tend to turn over faster, but the point is, it's just hitting it. It's at the end of its peak. So it might have been a little bit more floral and grapefruity earlier, but it's totally drinkable now. So win for Ava Grace. So we ask a few basic questions of ourselves. We're not doing a full wine review here, but is it well executed? Yeah, I'd say it is. It has no obvious flaws. It doesn't have a lot of fruit going on to it that isn't harsh, right? Grapefruit I've never found to be particularly pleasant. It's bitter. This flavor continues with that because it adds with the acid. There's no sweetness to it. It's all very sour, tangy. If that's your flavor profile, great. But it is well executed. There's no flaws to the wine. It's not broken. Is it on style? Interestingly enough, I was always expecting to wonder about that, but I would say, yeah, that this definitely tastes like Sauvignon Blanc, and I wouldn't put it in an Australian a New Zealand or French category, making a California style being the kind of default remainder. So it lives up to the name on the bottle. And then finally, is it worth the price tag? For $7, dude, really, you can't kind of go wrong here. If you've got drinking a $7 bottle of wine that isn't offensive, that's great type. That's your typical kind of couch wine. I very often get students or customers that come up to me and they have this guilt complex over their whatever cheap wine that they happen to love is. And I always try to assuage them that says, look, if you enjoy it, if it's well made and it's consistent, in that then don't sweat it, right? This isn't a judgment. This isn't a judgment contest to see who can spend the most on their wine throughout their lifetime. Bacchus doesn't work that way. You're not going to get rewarded in the afterlife for drinking the most expensive wines. You're going to be judged for how well you enjoyed those wines with friends. So you heard it here third. Anyway, Ava Grace, really nice. Certainly an awesome selection from the grocery store grab. I like their label. I like what they're doing with their words. Very much a high rate from WineShark as far as the grocery store is concerned. Definitely. But here's the weird part. Would I repeat? I mean, the thing is, if I'm looking for an inexpensive Sauv Blanc, absolutely, I'll keep this in mind. Generally speaking, spending about another $5 to $7 will get you into we'll get into a slightly better suit with a lot more fruit kind of things going on if you go to New Zealand, and a lot more defined minerality if you go from France. So, or even California, you can go up the ranks a bit. Still, it is what it is for what it's good at. It does what it says on the tin, as they say in the business. So, anyhow, all right, well, any other questions from anybody today, other than we've all had varying degrees of weather, and the chat seems to be going on, which is good. We've had on and off rain here, but I haven't really been tracking much. We haven't gotten any of the blow through from the storm down south, so that sometimes happens to us, but not all the time. So for the poor people who are wading through Louisiana right now, I hope they are taking care, being safe, and taking care of one another. So, all right, well. So I hope you guys will join us for Sunday the 12th for the back to school show up at the Reunion Tower, and look for more information and ticketing on the Texas tour coming in the next 3 days. Finally got some of the approvals to do the things I want to do. I'm going to put that out there and let some people sign up. Patreons will have first crack at tickets. Everybody else will have second crack, and hopefully we'll have a great show together. One of the things that was one of the suggestions from one of our Patreons, Mr. Hamlin, one of the things that's going to be included in the tour now is that I will be renting a van. So I will be driving us around to our various locations so that you have a designated WineShark for you guys, and you guys can sit back, relax, and enjoy yourselves at the wineries and not have to worry about driving. So we will take care of that, and that'll be a fun part of the of our wine journey together down in Fredericksburg area. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. I hope you guys, keep experiencing your good weather. Hope you guys enjoy some summer wines, because it's still summer, and. If you've got any secret weapon $7 Sauvignon Blancs that you also like, or actually anything in the sub $10 range, post those in the comments after the show. What your kind of favorite value wine is, your dirty little secrets, your guilty little pleasures. We're always looking to share them up on the channel and share them amongst people that can vouch for them. So I hope you guys have a great week, and until next time, I've been your WineShark. Cheers. Oh yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe and do all the other Patreon-y stuff that I usually remind you to. You guys are so awesome.